Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Defender, staring at the massive alien space station ahead. The station belonged to the Galactic Council, a group of alien races that controlled most of the galaxy. For 3 years, humanity had asked to join this council. For 3 years, they had been rejected. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Jake's crew watched their screens waiting for news. They all knew today would be different. Today, the council would give their final answer about humanity's place in the galaxy. Admiral Lisa Carter walked onto the bridge. Her face was serious, and everyone could tell she had bad news. She held a small device in her hand. A message from the council. "Captain Morrison," she said, her voice steady but angry. "The council has rejected us again, but this time they've gone too far." Jake turned to face her. "What do you mean, Admiral?" Lisa pressed a button on the device. A holographic alien appeared in the air. It was Ambassador Krelthos, a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms. His voice was cold and full of hate. "Humans are nothing but violent animals," the alien said. "You fight wars. You destroy planets. You are not fit to join civilized species. Stay in your small corner of space, and leave the galaxy to those who deserve it." The message continued. "We are placing new rules on human ships. You cannot trade with most species anymore. Any alien who helps humans will be punished. This is our final word." The hologram disappeared. The bridge was silent. Jake felt anger growing in his chest. His crew looked at him, waiting for orders. "There's more," Admiral Carter said. "Dr. Amy Sullivan, come here." Dr. Sullivan was the ship's science officer. She was young but very smart. She walked over with her tablet, showing strange readings. "Admiral, we've been watching alien ships for weeks," she said. "They're moving toward human space. Big fleets from the Zephyrian Empire and the Vorthan Collective. They're not coming to talk." Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes spoke up from his station. "How many ships are we talking about?" "Doctor?" "Over 400, Dr. Sullivan replied. "Maybe more, they're coming from different directions. This isn't just a show of force, they mean to attack us." Jake felt his heart racing. The aliens weren't just rejecting humanity anymore. They wanted to destroy them or force them to leave their homes. He looked around at his crew. These were good people. They had families back on Earth. They deserved better than this. "What are our options?" Jake asked Admiral Carter. "Limited," she replied. "We can surrender and let them move us to some empty planet far away. We can fight and probably lose, or what?" Commander Rick Barnes asked. Rick was the ship's weapons officer, a tough man who had fought in many battles. Admiral Carter smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Or we show them what happens when you threaten humanity. We've been hiding our real strength for too long. Maybe it's time the galaxy learned what we're really capable of." Dr. Sullivan looked confused. "What do you mean, Admiral?" "Our weapons are good, but theirs are better. Everyone knows that." "That's what they think," Admiral Carter said. "That's what we wanted them to think. But we've been working on special projects, things they don't know about, things that might surprise them." Jake remembered the secret meetings he'd attended, the new weapons being tested in hidden facilities, the technology that even most humans didn't know about. The government had been preparing for this day for years. "You're talking about the quantum torpedoes," Jake said quietly. Admiral Carter nodded. "Among other things, the question is, are we ready to use them?" The bridge crew exchanged glances. They all knew what this meant. If they used their secret weapons, there would be no going back. The aliens would know that humanity was more dangerous than they thought. It would mean war. "Admiral," Ben Hayes said, "what about the innocent aliens, the ones who don't want to fight us?" "We'll protect them," Admiral Carter replied. "But first, we need to survive. And to do that, we need to send a message that the galaxy will never forget." She walked to the communication station. "Open a channel to all human ships in the area. And then, hack into the alien communication networks. I want every species in the galaxy to hear what I'm about to say." The communications officer, a young woman named Kate Wilson, looked surprised. "Admiral, That's going to make them very angry. Good, Admiral Carter said. I want them angry. Angry people make mistakes. Kate worked on her console for several minutes. Ready, Admiral. Every ship in this sector will hear your message, human and alien. Admiral Carter stood straight and looked into the camera. When she spoke, her voice was calm but full of power. This is Admiral Lisa Carter of the Human Defense Fleet. We came to you in peace. We asked to join your council as equals. We offered friendship and trade. You rejected us. You called us animals. You threatened our people and our worlds. She paused, letting her words sink in. We tried diplomacy. We tried negotiation. We tried to coexist with you. But you have chosen war instead of peace. You have chosen to threaten innocent humans who only wanted to live free among the stars. Her voice grew stronger. This is our final warning to the galaxy. We are not the weak species you think we are. We are not primitive animals. We are human beings, and we will not be pushed around anymore. Withdraw your fleets from human space immediately. Cancel your threats against our people. Leave us alone. She leaned closer to the camera. If you continue on this path, you will learn something about humanity that we hoped you would never have to know. We are armed, and we are ready. We have weapons you cannot imagine, and the will to use them. This is not a bluff. This is not a joke. This is your last chance to avoid a war that will change the galaxy forever. The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Well, Jake said finally, I guess there's no turning back now. Admiral Carter nodded. No, there isn't. Signal the fleet. Prepare for battle. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is really made of. 3 days passed after Admiral Carter's warning message. The galaxy's response was exactly what Jake Morrison expected. They laughed. On the bridge of the UHS Defender, Jake watched alien news broadcasts with his crew. The aliens were making jokes about humanity's threat. Council Chairman Vextar, a tall alien with gray skin and 6 eyes, appeared on every screen across the galaxy. The humans think they can threaten us, Vextar said, his voice full of mockery. These primitive creatures with their basic weapons want to fight the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. It is like an ant threatening an elephant. Other alien leaders joined in the laughter. They called humans stupid monkeys and cave dwellers with spaceships. The insults made Jake's crew angry, but Admiral Carter remained calm. Let them laugh, she said quietly. They won't be laughing much longer. Dr. Amy Sullivan approached, the Admiral with a tablet in her hands. Admiral, we're receiving new orders from Earth Command. Admiral Carter read the message. Her face showed no emotion, but Jake could see determination in her eyes. Captain Morrison, prepare for departure. We have a mission. What kind of mission? Jake asked. A demonstration, Admiral Carter replied. It's time to show the galaxy that human warnings are not empty threats. 2 hours later, 3 human ships moved through space toward their target. The UHS Defender led the way, followed by the UHS Retribution commanded by Captain Steve Collins and the UHS Vengeance under Captain Maria Rodriguez. Their destination was a Zephyrian listening post in neutral space. The listening post was huge, bigger than most cities on Earth. It was covered in weapons and protected by powerful shields. The Zephyrians used it to spy on other species and control communications in that sector. They believed it was impossible to destroy. Target in sight, reported Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes from his sensor station. The station has detected us. They're powering up their weapons. Jake studied the enemy station on his screen. It looked like a metal mountain floating in space, bristling with gun turrets and missile launchers. Looks pretty tough, he said. That's what they want everyone to think, Dr. Sullivan said with a small smile. But they don't know what we've been working on. Admiral Carter opened a communication channel to the other ships. Captain Collins, Captain Rodriguez, are your ships ready? UHS Retribution ready for action, came Steve Collins' voice. UHS Vengeance. Standing by, replied Maria Rodriguez. Good, Admiral Carter said. Begin the demonstration. Show them what quantum torpedoes can do. The three human ships moved into attack formation. They looked small compared to the massive alien station, like tiny fish swimming toward a whale. The Zephyrians must have thought the humans were crazy. The alien station fired first. Bright energy beams shot toward the human ships. But something strange happened. The beams hit the human ships but didn't destroy them. Instead, the ships seemed to absorb the energy and keep flying. New shield technology working perfectly, Dr. Sullivan reported. Their weapons are making us stronger, not weaker. Jake smiled. The aliens had no idea what they were dealing with. All ships, prepare quantum torpedoes, Admiral Carter ordered. Target the station's main reactor and shield generators. The human ships launched their secret weapons. The torpedoes looked like normal missiles, but they were something completely different. When they hit the alien station, they didn't just explode. They made the station's metal walls simply disappear, atom by atom. The powerful Zephyrian shields, which could stop any normal weapon, collapsed in seconds. The station's thick armor plating vanished like smoke. Entire sections of the massive structure just ceased to exist. Direct hit on the reactor core, reported Commander Rick Barnes from the weapons station. The station is breaking apart. Jake watched in amazement as the supposedly indestructible listening post fell apart before his eyes. Pieces of metal and machinery floated away into space. Emergency lights flashed as the station died. Sensors detect escape pods launching, Ben Hayes announced. Looks like about 50 Zephyrian survivors. Admiral Carter nodded. All ships' rescue operations begin now. Save as many aliens as we can. Admiral, Jake was surprised. We're going to help them. We're not monsters, Captain, Admiral Carter replied. We destroy military targets, but we save lives when we can. That's what makes us different from them. The three human ships quickly collected the alien escape pods. The Zephyrian survivors were brought aboard and given medical care. Many of them were injured and scared. They had never seen their technology fail so completely. Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes coordinated the rescue efforts. He made sure every alien survivor was treated well and given food and medical attention. Some of the aliens seemed confused by this kindness from their enemies. Why are you helping us? Asked one young Zephyrian officer. We were trying to kill you. Ben looked at the alien with sympathy. Because it's the right thing to do. That's what humans believe in. News of the listening post's destruction spread across the galaxy faster than light speed. Within hours, every species knew what had happened. The images were broadcast everywhere. A massive Zephyrian fortress reduced to floating debris in minutes by just 3 human ships. But the most important part of the story wasn't the destruction, it was what happened next. Video recordings showed human ships rescuing alien survivors and treating them with care and respect. This surprised many species who had been told that humans were cruel and violent. Admiral Carter received a secret message while they were traveling back to human space. It came from the Calarian Trade Federation, a group of merchant aliens who had been forced to stop trading with humans. Admiral Carter, the message said, we have been watching what happened at the listening post. We want to help you. We can give you information about Council fleet movements. In return, we ask for your protection when the war begins. Similar messages arrived from other alien species. Some were traders who wanted human protection. Others were small governments tired of being bullied by the Council. The demonstration had shown them that humans might actually be able to win a war against the galaxy's superpowers. But the Council's reaction was swift and angry. Within days, Admiral Carter received intelligence that the main Zephyrian war fleet was moving toward Earth. Over 200 alien warships were coming to destroy humanity's home planet. Well, Jake said to his crew, I guess they didn't like our demonstration. Admiral Carter smiled grimly. Then it's time for the real test. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the enemy is coming and we're ready to fight. 2 weeks after the listening post demonstration, the largest alien fleet in galactic history arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Defender, watching his sensors as hundreds of enemy ships appeared on the screen. Contact report, called out Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes. 237 alien vessels detected, Zephyrian dreadnoughts, Vorthan cruisers and support ships from 12 different species. Admiral Lisa Carter studied the tactical display. The alien fleet was massive, stretching across space like a metal cloud. At its center was the Cosmic Dominion, the Zephyrian flagship commanded by War Marshal Thekmor. "Our fleet status?" "Admiral," Carter asked. 50 human ships ready for battle," replied Commander Rick Barnes. "The UHS Thunderstrike under Captain Tony Mitchell is positioned on our left flank. The carrier UHS Freedom with Captain Kelly Johnson is protecting our rear." Jake looked at the numbers. 50 human ships against over 200 alien vessels. The odds were terrible, but he had seen what human weapons could do. Maybe they had a chance. A transmission came from the alien flagship. War Marshal Thekmor appeared on the main screen. He was a huge Zephyrian with red skin and sharp teeth. His voice was full of anger and hate. "Humans," Thekmor growled. "You destroyed our listening post and embarrassed the Council. Now you will pay the price. Surrender immediately, and we will allow some of you to live as slaves. Refuse, and we will turn your planet into ash." Admiral Carter stepped forward. "War Marshal, this is your last chance to leave our system peacefully. We don't want to fight, but we will defend our home." Thekmor laughed, a harsh sound that made Jake's skin crawl. "Your tiny fleet against the might of the galaxy? You are either very brave or very stupid." "Maybe both," Admiral Carter replied calmly. "But we're also very prepared." The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Everyone knew the battle was about to begin. "All ships, battle stations," Admiral Carter announced. "Prepare adaptive shields and quantum torpedoes. Today we show the galaxy what humans can do when we fight for our home." The alien fleet attacked first. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles flew toward the human ships. The weapons were powerful enough to destroy entire cities. Jake braced himself for the impact, but something amazing happened. When the alien weapons hit the human ships, they didn't explode or catch fire. Instead, the ships seemed to drink in the energy and become stronger. "Adaptive shields working perfectly," Dr. Amy Sullivan reported with excitement. "Every attack they make teaches our shields how to defend better. They're actually helping us." Jake watched in wonder as alien weapons struck his ship again and again, but the UHS Defender kept flying without damage. The more the aliens shot, the stronger the human defenses became. "All ships, return fire," Admiral Carter ordered. "Show them what real weapons look like." The human fleet unleashed their quantum torpedoes. The weapons moved through space like deadly lights heading straight for the alien ships. When they hit, the results were devastating. A Vorthan cruiser simply vanished when 3 torpedoes struck its hull. The ship's metal dissolved like sugar in water, leaving only empty space where it had been. Other alien vessels tried to dodge, but the quantum weapons were too fast and too many. War Marshal Thekmor's voice came over the radio, no longer confident. "Impossible. How are your primitive weapons doing this?" "They're not primitive, Admiral," Carter replied. "They're human." Captain Tony Mitchell's voice crackled over the communication system. "UHS Thunderstrike engaging enemy left flank. These aliens don't know how to fight a real battle." On the other side of the battlefield, Captain Kelly Johnson launched fighter squadrons from the UHS Freedom. The small human fighters moved like dancing birds between the large alien ships, too fast and agile for the enemy weapons to hit. Jake watched the tactical display as the battle developed. The alien fleet was bigger, but human ships were smarter and faster. Human pilots knew how to work together while the aliens seemed confused and disorganized. Captain Morrison called Commander Rick Barnes. "I have a clear shot at their flagship." Jake looked at the massive Cosmic Dominion on his screen. The ship was enormous, bristling with weapons and armor. But he remembered what had happened to the listening post. "Take the shot," Jake ordered. 6 quantum torpedoes launched from the UHS Defender, flying straight toward the enemy flagship. War Marshal Thekmor tried to escape, but his ship was too big and slow. The torpedoes struck the Cosmic Dominion's reactor core. The great alien dreadnought began to break apart. Explosions rippled along its hull as the quantum weapons destroyed the ship from inside. Within minutes, the pride of the Zephyrian fleet was nothing but floating wreckage. The death of their leader shocked the alien fleet. Ships that had been attacking suddenly stopped firing. Some tried to retreat, while others flew in circles, unsure what to do. Captain Maria Rodriguez's voice came over the radio. UHS Vengeance requesting permission to pursue retreating enemies. Permission. Granted, Admiral Carter replied. Make sure none of these ships return to threaten Earth again. The battle was turning into a complete victory for humanity. Alien ships that had seemed invincible were fleeing or surrendering. The great invasion fleet was falling apart. Jake felt proud, but also sad. He didn't enjoy killing, even when it was necessary. But these aliens had come to destroy his home planet and everyone he loved. He had no choice but to fight. Alien fleet is in full retreat, reported Ben Hayes. 37 enemy ships destroyed, over 100 fleeing the system. Our losses are minimal. 3 ships with minor damage, no casualties. Admiral Carter nodded. Send a message to all retreating ships. Tell them this. Earth is under human protection. Any species that threatens our world or our people will face the same fate as the Cosmic Dominion. As the last alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, Jake looked out at the stars. The battle was over, but he knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy had learned that humanity was not weak or primitive. They were strong, and they would defend themselves. Admiral, Dr. Sullivan said quietly, we're receiving messages from over 20 different alien species. They want to talk about alliances and trade agreements. Admiral Carter smiled. It seems destroying their invasion fleet got their attention. Schedule meetings with any species that wants peace, but keep our weapons ready. Some aliens only respect strength. The battle for Earth was won, but Jake knew the real work was just beginning. 1 month after the battle for Earth, the galaxy was a very different place. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the conference room aboard the UHS Defender, looking at representatives from 30 different alien species. They had all come to talk about joining humanity's new alliance. The biggest change was that the old Galactic Council was falling apart. After their great fleet was destroyed by humans, many species stopped trusting the Council's leadership. Some planets declared independence. Others joined the growing coalition around Earth. Admiral Lisa Carter entered the room and took her seat at the head of the table. She wore her best uniform, but her face showed the tiredness of someone who had been working day and night to build peace in the galaxy. Welcome, friends, Admiral Carter said to the assembled aliens. 6 months ago, your governments called us primitive animals. Today, you sit at our table as equals. Times change quickly in space. The first to speak was Ambassador Keltar from the Calarian Trade Federation. The Calarians looked like tall, thin humans with blue skin and large eyes. They had been the first species to secretly help humanity. Admiral Carter, Keltar said, our trade routes are open again thanks to your protection. The Zephyrians can no longer threaten us. We are grateful. Next spoke General Vorth from the Andrean Republic. The Andreans were warriors who looked like humans but with tough, rocky skin. They had been forced to serve the Council for many years. The humans fight with honor, General Vorth declared. When you could have destroyed our ships, you chose mercy instead. When you could have enslaved us, you offered friendship. This is why we follow you now. Jake watched the meeting with interest. It was amazing how quickly things had changed. Just weeks ago, these same species had been preparing to attack Earth. Now they wanted to be allies. Dr. Amy Sullivan approached, Admiral Carter with a tablet. Admiral, we're receiving a priority message from Captain Tony Mitchell. He's at the Proxima colony. Admiral Carter read the message quickly. Good news. Captain Mitchell has successfully liberated 3 more worlds from Zephyrian control. The local populations have declared their independence and asked to join our alliance. This brought excited murmurs from the alien representatives. The idea that small planets could break free from the Council's control was spreading across the galaxy like wildfire. How many species have joined us now? Asked Ambassador Yelra from the Centauri Federation. Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes checked his datapad. 47 species have signed formal alliance agreements. Another 23 are in negotiations. The Galactic Liberation Alliance now controls or protects over 300 star systems. Jake smiled at the name. The Galactic Liberation Alliance. It had a nice sound to it, much better than the old council with its threats and bullying. Captain Maria Rodriguez's voice came through the communication system. UHS Vengeance reporting from the Outer Rim. We've established contact with the Tauri Mining Guild. They want protection from council tax collectors. Grant it, Admiral Carter replied immediately. Send them a defense agreement. No one should be forced to give their wealth to tyrants. The meeting continued for hours. Species after species told stories of how the council had mistreated them. High taxes, forced military service, restrictions on trade and travel. The council had ruled through fear for so long that many aliens had forgotten what freedom felt like. But there was still danger. Commander Rick Barnes brought Admiral Carter a tactical report during a break in the meetings. Admiral, intelligence reports that the Zephyrian Empire and Vorthan Collective are forming a new military alliance. They're calling it the Imperial Coalition. They're gathering ships from their remaining loyal worlds. Admiral Carter studied the report. How many ships are we talking about? At least 400, maybe more. They're planning to launch a massive counterattack within 3 months. Jake felt worried. The human fleet had grown to over 300 ships, but adding allied vessels, but 400 enemy ships would still be a serious threat. What about our new weapon projects? Admiral Carter asked Dr. Sullivan. The quantum communication network is complete, Dr. Sullivan reported. We can now coordinate our forces across the entire galaxy without using council relay stations. They can't spy on our messages anymore. And the new ship designs? The first prototype quantum battleships will be ready in 2 months. Each one will be as powerful as 10 regular ships. Admiral Carter nodded. Good. We'll need every advantage we can get. The meeting resumed with discussions about trade, technology sharing, and mutual defense. Jake watched as former enemies became friends and allies. It was like watching the birth of a new civilization. As the day ended, the alien representatives began returning to their ships. Many stopped to shake hands with Admiral Carter and thank her personally. The Andrian general even saluted her in the traditional human military style. When the room was empty except for the core human staff, Admiral Carter sat down heavily in her chair. Sometimes I can't believe how far we've come, she said. From rejected applicants to leaders of a galactic alliance in 6 months, Jake said. Not bad for a bunch of primitive animals. Dr. Sullivan laughed. I love how they used to call us that. Now half the galaxy wants to learn human military tactics and ship design. Ben Hayes brought a final report to Admiral Carter. Admiral, we're receiving requests from over 50 more species asking about alliance membership. The liberation movement is spreading faster than we can keep up with. Admiral Carter stood and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. Planet looked peaceful and blue, surrounded by the protective fleet that now included ships from dozens of different worlds. You know, she said quietly, we never wanted to conquer the galaxy. We just wanted to be left alone to live our lives in peace. But sometimes, Jake replied, to protect peace, you have to fight for it. Admiral Carter turned back to her. Crew, prepare a message for transmission to all Alliance worlds. It's time to make our position clear to anyone who's still listening. The message was broadcast across the galaxy an hour later. Admiral Carter's face appeared on screens in hundreds of star systems. This is Admiral Lisa Carter of the Galactic Liberation Alliance. 6 months ago, we were told we didn't belong among the stars. Today, we stand with free species from across the galaxy who have chosen cooperation over conquest, freedom over fear. She paused, looking directly into the camera. To those who still believe in the old ways of domination and control, know this. The age of galactic empires is ending. The future belongs to those who choose to work together as equals. We are armed, we are ready, and we will defend freedom wherever it is threatened. The transmission ended, but its message echoed across the galaxy. The humans had kept their promise. They were armed and ready, and they had changed everything.